2016 NBA season changed the NBA forever. But it wasn't just the league that changed, it was the game itself. And it happened because one man was bold enough to take a shot rather than take a timeout. This is the Steph Curry shot that changed the NBA forever. From how we play the game, to team tactics, to how we do highlights.
Well, tonight we're introducing the three-point distance tracker. Shots beyond 25 feet. You get a chance to measure the incredible range of today's NBA long-distance shooter. Steph Curry, of course, always leading the way.
And even how we define a point guard. It was the shot heard round the world, and nothing was ever the same. This right here is the expression we're left with as we struggle to keep up with the changes. But what exactly made this shot in a regular season match so powerful? The Warriors versus the Thunder in a regular season game is just that, a regular season game. But the matchup between these two in 2016 in Oklahoma City was different. You see, Golden State had started the season with a jaw-dropping 14-0 record and cruising to 41-4 midway. They weren't just winning games, they were chasing ghosts, on track to shatter the 72-win record of Jordan's 96 Bulls. And at the heart of it all was Steph Curry, pulling off a season that felt straight out of a video game. Except for the fact that even the video games and their developers could not keep up with him.
2016 was also a time where NBA 2K understood just how powerful Steph Curry was, and that there wasn't much they can do about it without upsetting the delicate balance of the game. In a Forbes article, gameplay director Mike Wang talked about how much Steph Curry breaks the regular line of 2K action. You see, dribbling a lot and taking off the dribble three-pointers in NBA 2K has often been punished. 2K kinda goes by the words of Paul George. I don't care what anybody says, that's a bad shot. But what if we have a player that technically doesn't take bad shots, no matter how he gets to that shot? You see, Steph Curry has never followed the traditional rules of shot selection. He's that good. A lot of his three-point shots that we've watched in real life, I have seen on TV and thought, you know what? That's never going in 2K.
It was clear. The Warriors were doing things that were beyond ordinary. Now, here comes the Thunder with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, both dishing out MVP caliber highlight reels. In fact, earlier that season, Durant and Westbrook became the first teammates to score at least 40 points in a game since the 1996 MJ and Scottie Pippen. So there was no doubt that if any team could stop Golden State, it was the Thunder. And true to form, when the game began, they were doing just that. Until the baby-faced assassin snapped. But in a match filled with superstars who had everything we've come to associate with NBA greatness, athleticism, height, and strength, how did this small, skinny, and slow player become so dangerous? Steph Curry wasn't supposed to dominate the NBA. At 6'2" and barely 185 pounds, he wasn't built for NBA greatness. At least, that's what we first thought. Typically, when we think of NBA greatness, we're talking Michael Jordan, 6'6" and very athletic. LeBron James, 6'9" and powerful. Shaq, 7'1" and strong. This was the way. Until Steph flipped the entire script. Instead of raw power or soaring dunks, it was finesse, precision, and an absolute insane shooting range. His rise began at Davidson, where his smooth jumper and clutch gene made scouts finally pay attention. Even then, doubters questioned if his game could translate to the NBA. But Steph wasn't trying to fit the mold. He was breaking it, and his secret weapon was his unlimited range. Here was a guy who turned half-court shots into layups. He was impossible to guard.
Who's the most difficult player to guard?
It probably is Steph, just because of the way he affects the game. He can score on every level on the court and in some levels that we didn't even know existed. So he definitely poses a challenge for us that most teams don't.
This baby-faced assassin showed young players that dominance didn't require a Shaq-sized frame. Okay, maybe that's not quite true, considering the fact there was once Allen Iverson who ran riot in the league. And yes, he influenced Curry's game too.
Low-key, I've always wanted to be like Allen Iverson. That was the only way I could really come close.
But in spite of the comparisons and what we'd seen from Curry all through 2015, we had no idea what was coming. But somehow, Iverson knew, and he tried to warn us.
Me being the biggest Michael Jordan fan, to see somebody come around like this,
Like I had my idea of me being incredible. You know what I mean? But this dude right here, like, it's different. It's a whole different monster.
The Thunder were about to find out. February 27th, 2016. Warriors vs. Thunder. The buildup was electric. This wasn't just any matchup. It was KD and Westbrook versus Steph and the Warriors, and the stakes were so high.
This is a big deal. Any basketball fan out there, don't miss this.
But once the game started, the Thunder brought the heat immediately, jumping to an 11-point halftime lead. Kevin Durant was hitting mid-range daggers, and Russ was playing with his trademark controlled chaos. OKC's defense was suffocating, leaving the Warriors struggling to find rhythm. By halftime, you could hear the whispers. Maybe the Warriors aren't as invincible as they seem. Back at the locker room, Draymond Green and Coach Steve Kerr were going crazy, and on returning to the court, it seemed to have worked. Then this happened. With Curry limping to the bench, it felt like the Warriors' fate was sealed. And then it happened. A quick retape, some magic, and boom, Curry was back, and what a return it was. Still, OKC went pound for pound in the fourth quarter, but overtime was the cherry on top, filled with defensive stands and clutch buckets. But with the clock ticking down and the game tied, Curry decided to do what a normal person would never do.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
That shot sunk into the basket, breaking the Oklahoma City Thunder hearts as well as several NBA records. The game winner wasn't just another three. It was the three. It was Steph's 12th of the night. As the years have passed, we've come to realize that this wasn't just a game. It was a statement that Steph Curry was him. And that shot, it didn't just break records, it broke the game. Here's how.
And this whole like hybrid guard, hybrid forward, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a hybrid because you have to be able to shoot the ball from distance. You have to be able to be some type of offensive threat. And that was different. So you look at a lot of teams, the engine is the point guard because it's a lot of pick and rolls. Everybody play like the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the point guard is like the conductor, right?
You see, the Curry effect turned the league into a three-point festival. Teams started chucking triples at an insane rate, and the numbers don't lie. By 2016, the Warriors were raining over 33s a game. Even the big men are now pulling up like guards. Teams like the Rockets went all in, with their entire strategy based on Curry's long-range mastery, even though they really didn't have that mastery. But inasmuch as no one had the Curry-level skill, they just kept on shooting.
Now, for a long time in NBA history, even if you were good at three-pointers, you weren't shooting at the volume that people in today's game are. In fact, from 2000 to 2009, the most threes attempted per game was 8.7 from Baron Davis, and he was shooting 32%. Now, before Curry, there was Ray Allen, one of the few in that decade I could say was really shooting at a high volume and with Curry-like effectiveness. You also have a Jason Richardson year and a Mike Miller year where someone was attempting 7 threes a game and shot over 40% from three. Now, I mentioned Ray Allen specifically because of how he shot his threes. In my opinion, pulling up from three off the dribble wasn't really a normalized shot back then, and for the most part, the best three-point shooters weren't also among the best ball handlers in the league. That was until players like Ray Allen, Steve Nash, and Gilbert Arenas started to challenge this notion.
But it wasn't just about shooting more, it was about how teams played. Spacing became king, and ball movement became essential. Defenses had to stretch themselves thin to chase shooters beyond the arc. Teams were now actively trying to reinvent the wheel that the Warriors had created. But as incredible as that was, it wasn't the end of the Steph Curry effect. You see, Steph also changed what it meant to be great. Back in the day, it was all about size and athleticism, with very few small-sized players ever reaching the GOAT level. To be a constant in the GOAT discussions, you still had to be kind of a Shaq, MJ, or LeBron, dominating the game with power and hops. But as LeBron himself pointed out, Curry dominates the game even when off the ball.
The next clip we show, we showed I had Steph in transition, and Steph cuts back door, and I'm body on body. I didn't fucking look at the ball the whole time, and I know that goes against every coach. Yeah. Ball you basket, see the ball, the ball is the problem. The ball is not the problem with Steph Curry. He's the fucking problem. Steph is most dangerous when he doesn't have the ball.
Steph showed you don't need a 40-inch vertical if you've got a 40-foot range. For smaller players, Steph was a beacon. He gave guys under 6'5" a reason to believe they could dominate too. As for the personal records, they just kept falling. Steph's 2016 MVP season was historic. Not just because he won it, but because he became the first unanimous MVP ever. Every voter knew he was untouchable. His influence stretched beyond the NBA too. From kids in Tokyo draining half-court shots to parks in Harlem filled with logo range imitators, Steph made basketball global in a new way. Curry didn't just inspire, he democratized the game, and now the NBA and the world would never be the same. February 27th, 2016 was the day the game of basketball changed forever because of one shot. And most may say Steph is the GOAT point guard. Others may say Magic Johnson is still that. Watch this video next.